Okay. Welcome to our monthly Green Team Meeting. We meet every third Thursday here at noon. If you guys are interested in coming back and presenting, letting your friends know. We run off of sponsorships, so that's how we provide free lunch to everybody. My name is Jolene. I am from American Recycling, formerly the sustainability coordinator here at the Chamber. I am now doing Green Team meetings. Today we will be having Karen Warner, our speaker at Being Circular. And
let's do some intros in the room so we know who we're here with, and we are recording, so this will be up on our website within a few days. Then you can take it and do it. If you want to bounce it out, you can do that as well. So we'll start over here, if that is okay.
Yeah. So good afternoon, everyone. My name is Danielle Marker. I'm here on behalf of family member Juan Alanin. And also brought our district intern Yesenia today.
Nice. We're glad you're here. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Shannon Silva. I'm with StanCog or Stanis Cruise. So thank you for having me, and I'll be back next month.
Sounds good. Thank you. Over here.
Hi, I'm Katie Small. I'm the safety manager at Nestle USA in Modesto.
Awesome. Really happy to have you guys back.
I'm Jeff Olson. I'm the supply chain manager in the Nestle factory.
Nice. And Jolene introduced herself. I'm Trish Christensen. I'm president and CEO of the Modesto Chamber of Commerce. And if you're ready, Karen, we'll go right to you and let you do your own. Help yourself if you want more lunch. We have plenty here, or grab some after. Yeah.
yeah.
I think.
Slideshow or
Yeah, I was just gonna say, there you go. Yep.
Clicker. All right. Yeah, thank you all so much for having me. Since we're a small crew, please feel free to interrupt and ask questions and make this conversational. I'm Karen Warner. I'm the CEO of a relatively new organization in our community called Being Circular. And on the personal side, before I jump into the background on Beam, I was born and raised in Oakdale, California. I now live in Modesto, just about 5 minutes from here, and I was raising my two kiddos. I have a 2- and a 4-year-old at home, so I'm deeply grateful for my experience, a lot of sleep, and I'm very deeply grateful to have my family here in Modesto. I love this community so much, and the Chamber is one of the many institutions that makes Modesto so fabulous, and it's a delight to be with other folks in this community. So I'm going to share a little bit about what Being Circular is, and the background, what the regional initiative is that we're leading around growing the bioeconomy here in our community, and then how that might relate to, I know we've got one business in the room, definitely much relevance for Nestle, but then also just for general everyone's awareness, the ways we're thinking about collaborating with existing businesses here in our community and what the growth of this new industry could mean for our existing industries. So Being Circular's mission is to really unlock the power of agricultural communities like ours here in the Central Valley to transform waste to opportunity through the circular bioeconomy, which I promise I'll define what we're talking about with that. And when we think about waste into opportunity, we're really thinking about opportunity both as environmental solutions and sustainability, but also really importantly, opportunity in the form of economic opportunity for our local communities. This work came out of some local economic development planning work that some of you may be very familiar with, called the Stanislaus 2030 planning process and now initiative. Stanislaus 2030 was started back in 2021, really launched in 2021, and then over the course of about a year, worked with business and government and community stakeholders to set a vision and a number of very specific investment strategies for our community, focused on ways to create a more resilient, vibrant, and inclusive regional economy. It focused in particular on the challenge of creating greater access to quality jobs in this region. We did a really big market analysis and data-driven process to really look at what's happening in the Stanislaus County regional economy at this time. And that analysis identified this really interesting and concerning dynamic, which is that there's a majority of families in Stanislaus County struggle to make ends meet every month based on cost of living here in our community. Most of those struggling families, the vast majority, have at least one working adult in the household. So that means that most of the kids in our community are growing up in families that aren't, necessarily sure if they're going to be able to put food on the table or make rent next month, even though there's an adult in that household who's working one or maybe two or more jobs. So what that means as we think about our local economy and some of the strategies that we really need to embrace to expand access to opportunity is that we don't actually have so much of a challenge in this area with a lack of jobs. Of course, we always want to be addressing unemployment, but I think as a lot of employers would acknowledge right now, it's actually sometimes hard to find labor to fill the jobs we have. What we really struggle with generally in our economy is job quality and wages that meet the cost of living in our region. And so a lot of the strategies that came out of Stan 2030 are especially focused on how do we make sure that we're supporting our local workforce to get access to the existing jobs that we have, that employers are hiring for, that do offer higher levels of wages. So how do we make sure people have the skills and access to get into those quality jobs that we do have? And how can we diversify our regional economy in ways that bring the new businesses and new opportunities that will strengthen our existing industries while expanding access to these higher quality jobs. That's kind of the background of where this bioeconomy work came from. And there's a number of different elements of the Stanislaus 2030 investment blueprint, which was produced in fall of 2022. There are a number of activities happening in an ongoing way based on those recommendations, including work around childcare, and small business and entrepreneurship in our region, talent broadly, again, supporting a talent pipeline to those existing jobs that our employers are looking to fill that pay higher wages. But one of the recommendations and kind of areas in that investment blueprint specifically focused on this new industry activity that's kind of emerging in our region. We have a little bit of it and we have this big opportunity to grow more of it. And that industry or sector is called bioindustrial manufacturing, what we also refer to it as the bioeconomy. And it's this really big tent industry that has to do with using biology to create useful products. And a lot of this industry specifically is taking waste or residues from the food and ag system or municipal waste and turning that waste and residues into useful, bio-based energy or bio-based products and materials. So this is a really interesting emerging sector, and it's exciting for our region because one, it really does offer this opportunity to diversify us into new types of businesses, new types of industries that offer greater access to these high quality, higher wage jobs. So great for our local families and residents. But it also really builds upon our existing strengths in food and agriculture. So this isn't about bringing in an industry that is sort of like not at all connected to sort of the agricultural roots and legacy and the food processing and food manufacturing strengths of our region. This is about bringing in new industry that complements those industries and actually brings additional value opportunities to our existing industries. There are also really tremendous opportunities in terms of environment and reaching sustainability standards by embracing some of these new bioeconomy innovations. So we'll talk more about that and how this can really be an opportunity for businesses in this community to advance their sustainability goals. And then big picture, the bioeconomy is growing so tremendously at the state and national and global level. It aligns with a lot of governmental priorities for investment at the federal and state levels. And it also is this really big growing private sector investment market. So this is this big opportunity to bring investment and new capital and opportunities into it. That's kind of the background on where this initiative came from. So what we've launched to grow and nurture the bioeconomy, this new emerging sector, is called the BEAM Initiative, Bioeconomy, Agriculture and Manufacturing, or BEAM Initiative. So BEAM Circular, my organization, serves as the backbone and kind of the quarterback for this initiative, which is really about public-private collaboration and partnerships across many, many different stakeholders and institutions and players to advance and attract and grow this new industry. You can think of our work as essentially a portfolio of projects and investments that span these pillars of infrastructure, innovation and R&D, access to capital, So money, how are we actually supporting investment into our region, into this space, the talent pipeline, workforce development, and then a number of different cross-cutting initiatives, which I'll chat about a couple of them, that are really about growing the ecosystem as a whole. This whole effort is really about making the Stanislaus County region, and we position our work around the broad North San Joaquin Valley, which includes San Joaquin, Stanislaus, and Merced, making this tri-county region the global leader in bioindustrial manufacturing. That's the vision of this work. And as we become the global leader in this growing and really exciting industry, we're going to be able to deliver high quality jobs to our local communities and advance the sustainability and environmental goals. Again, in ways that actually strengthen and create a more resilient food and agricultural system for existing industries. So that's the very, very big picture. So I'm going to talk a little bit about what is the industry, what is the area of innovation that we're talking about, why our region is so well suited for it, and then what are we actually doing. And I promise we'll land on what might this mean for you. So the circular bioeconomy is the term that we really focus on in talking about this big sector, but you'll also hear me or other people again refer to bioindustrial manufacturing, bioproducts, bioprocessing, lots of different terms. Choose which one you like, but all of this is having to do with taking waste and organic material and turning it into a useful product. So on the left, you have a lot of examples, really just a few of the many examples of the inputs or the supply material for this industry. We call these feedstocks or also biomass. Think about green waste from your house, like what goes in that green bin. And then think about what comes off our fields or as byproducts and residues from food processing and food manufacturing. There's a lot of different types of residues, organic material that isn't the primary product or food product that we consume that comes out of the food and ag system, as well as out of our municipal waste. These pictures happen to show just a small number that are relevant in this region, including that's grape hummus up there. So we have the largest winery in the world here in Stanislaus County in our region. We've got a lot of grape hummus. That's what's left over when you make wine. It's the like grapey, bushy part that's left over after you stomp some grapes. We've got a lot of that, literally mountains of it. And there's such an opportunity to put it to higher and better use. We have a lot of nutshells and hulls in this region, as we all know. These are almond hulls and shells. You can do a lot of cool things with hulls and shells. Right now, a lot of this goes to animal feed, but the Almond Board has been investing tremendously in R&D on ways that we can get higher value products out of almond hulls, as well as shells, as well as woody biomass. So our orchards, when they're retired, I'm sure many of you as you've driven around have seen when an orchard reaches the end of its life, all those trees get uprooted. Traditionally, those trees have been burned. The state of California has implemented a burn ban in our part of the San Joaquin Valley, which is great for our air quality. It is a challenge for farmers as they make that transition away from what they were originally able to do with those retired orchards. They need an economically viable kind of end of life opportunity for all of that woody material. But you can also think about eggshells, dairy manure, and the methane that comes out of dairy manure as a byproduct or a waste stream from our ag industry, peels and pits, the wastewater or the water that comes out of food processing across the many different types of food manufacturing we have. There's all these nutrients in that wastewater. There's these biosolids or sludge that comes out of a lot of these operations. That is all organic material that can be used for many, many different types of things. So there's a lot of different types of technologies that can be used to convert this organic material or these waste streams or residues. Everyone likes their own terms, co-products, byproducts, lots of different terminology, but for this biomass over here, you can use lots of different technologies to transform or convert that material into something new. And then there's lots of different types of end products ranging from fuels. So a lot of people know about biofuels. Sustainable aviation fuel is a really big growing segment of biofuels because it's really hard to electrify planes. So as we make a transition away from fossil fuels, there's a really big emphasis and big push at the federal level to increase the production of sustainable aviation fuels from biosources. You can also make bio-based plastics and materials. You can make a lot of inputs to agriculture, so organic or sustainable fertilizers, for example, and soil amendments, herbicides or pesticides. You can make a lot of agricultural inputs using these bio-based materials. Industrial chemicals, there's a lot of applications in that space, as well as food and nutritional products. So you can kind of almost think of it as upcycling some of the material that would have gone to waste and using the new and creative ways for food and nutritional products. Lots of innovation in this space in the dairy industry, particularly because a lot of the conversion technologies that are used in biomanufacturing rely on fermentation or things related to fermentation. A lot of us are already familiar with fermentation because that's what we use to make cheese or brew beer or make wine. This is sort of like just a bit of a higher tech way of doing that. And instead of making beer or cheese or wine, we might be making a bio-based plastic or a biodegradable packaging material. It's a new way of making useful products, again, using biology. So that's the industry and the sector that we're talking about. And as you can imagine, there's lots of different ways that as we are growing and attracting companies that do this conversion of waste material into end product, there are really big opportunities for our existing industries to plug into this supply chain by being providers of feedstock, especially from our agricultural and food processing industry folks, and or to be consumers of some of these bio-based products by, for example, incorporating the bio-based plastic into a manufacturing process or converting over to a biodegradable packaging material using an organic fertilizer. There's lots of different ways that we can also be incorporating bio-based products into our processes and advance our sustainability goals. So this is what we're talking about when we're talking about the circular bioeconomy. It's about eliminating waste and getting value out of it, bringing it back into the system. Just to kind of put a little more, I'll kind of click quickly through these, but a few examples of what this look like. This is sort of the process of the energy space of making bio-based energy to different types of sources, whether it's methane from cow manure, from the dairy industry or food waste. You can convert that material through a technological biotech process. We get an output, whether it's a biodiesel, or this relates to production of hydrogen, a number of different types of fuels and energy sources, and then that can be used with a lot of different types of applications. Here we go. So a few other examples to kind of help different types of product spaces come alive. In addition to energy, these are real companies. This one here, NetJobs, we just were able to work with this startup out of Monterey. They're doing their first demonstration production facility right here in Turlock because of the work that we've been launching through the initiative. They are making bio-based polymers or plastic materials out of nut waste. So they take shells from the almond industry and turn it into things like nursery pots. So this is a fully biodegradable nursery pot. And you think about the incredible volume of plastic and pots that are used in horticulture or our nursery industry here, just in this region alone. Like even in this county, we have some of the world's leading nurseries. This is such a cool opportunity to have this kind of circular model where you take waste off the field, it goes into one of these pots, and then it comes back into our system in a way that results in much less pollution and waste. And then in the meantime, we've attracted this company here who's going to be creating new jobs in our community. So this is a fun kind of early win for this initiative that I like to highlight. Some other examples of products is cement can be made in a much more environmentally friendly way than we use biomanufacturing to produce the cement. This plant-based nylon example is such a cool one. So this company, they're based in San Diego. They're going to be making the nylon that goes into, they have a deal with Lululemon. So hopefully next time you're putting on some leggings or some yoga pants, it might be made using bio-based waste material. A lot of people don't realize how much petrochemicals and fossil fuels are in the things that we wear and that we use and that we touch every day. We don't even realize that there are ways to make these different materials with these more sustainable and renewable processes. And there's so much more. I think the packaging space alone is so easy for many of us to wrap our heads around, like, oh my gosh, yeah, when we're doing like single-use packaging, we should be making it with materials that are biodegradable. We should be making it with waste materials that we already have in our system. But we can also have, there's a lot of different types of food applications with alternative proteins. I talked a little bit earlier about soil amendments and agricultural inputs. There is a lot of opportunity in this space. So what I want to communicate is this is a really, really huge industry, and it is growing tremendously at the global level. This is really about transforming the way that we make many different things across the global supply chain. And it's not so much, this isn't, I think a lot of people, when they hear at first about the bioeconomy, about manufacturing, it might sound really wonky and kind of niche, like, oh, this is like, you know, maybe for some hippies who are using biodegradable forks, like this is actually really transforming entire global supply chains right now because of both market demands as well as regulatory environment conditions that are forcing this transition away from fossil fuels and chemicals into more renewable and sustainable materials. Anyway, lots of action on this space, lots of investment at the federal level, billions of dollars are going into the advancement of infrastructure and capacity for biomanufacturing. And it's not really a question about whether or not the bioeconomy is going to be growing in the years ahead. It's about which regions are really going to benefit. Which communities are going to capture these high quality jobs in this growing industry, and which local regions and industries are going to really accelerate and like adopt this, this new area proactively and benefit from it. So, I'm not going to spend a lot of time here, although I'm happy to go into detail on any of this. There's a lot of policy at the state and federal level that really is incentivizing and supporting the growth of the bioeconomy in exciting ways. One thing, there's sort of some obvious benefits to cleaner air and water. There's a lot of direct pollution that comes from organic waste streams. And so if we can reduce that organic waste and put it into these useful products, we get locally better air and better water, which is so exciting for our local communities. And as you know, we have some of the worst air quality in the country here in the San Joaquin Valley. And so if we can be reducing emissions and pollution from that waste material, and instead helping to create these green industry for the local community. An interesting thing that I think doesn't always sound obvious is that the growth of the bioeconomy is actually a big priority for the state of California because of wildfire management. So CAL FIRE and the state has been really trying to advance solutions for forestry management, and part of that includes being able to do new things with all that woody biomass that comes out of our forests that serves as the kindling of these two massive wildfires. And being able to do that in a sustainable, economically viable way into the long term means that we need economically valuable things to do with that woody biomass. This is a really cool connection between our agricultural part of the state and the forested Sierras that neighbor us, because we both have a lot of trees. We got a lot of trees coming out of our acres, on a regular basis from our tree crops, and the forested regions have all of this forested woody biomass. So lots of shared interest in helping to support projects and industries that make use of that. But this is also a priority at the federal level because of food and ag supply chain resilience, because of supply chain independence globally. We don't want to be relying just on other countries and their production of these biomaterials. We want to be able to produce that here domestically in the United States. The Department of Defense is actually the #1 investor in increasing bioindustrial manufacturing capacity in the US because they see it as a national security priority. And then this is also supporting the transition to carbon neutrality as we do. So the last thing I'll note in terms of industry context and the opportunity that we're moving into is that R&D and technology in this bioproduct space has super far outpaced our ability to actually produce these products in the market. And so without getting into tons of wonky detail, although I'm happy to go there if you have questions, there's this big, what you would call a valley of death for startups and for technologies that are coming out of the lab and trying to get to commercial scale production. Meaning that you might have a startup that proves out a really cool technology that can turn a nutshell into a bio-based plastic, but they aren't able to actually get in the market and start producing at commercial scale because of various barriers to scale, including workforce demands and infrastructure and other things that are kind of keeping those startups from and those technologies from growing. And so our focus with Beam and our potential competitive advantage as a region is really supporting scale up of these different bioproducts companies and getting to commercial scale manufacturing. The exciting thing about getting to commercial scale manufacturing is that is where you have really big deals for our existing industries to actually get a lot of volume of demand for these byproducts and residues. And it's also where you get higher numbers of jobs. All right, I'm going to pause there and then I'm going to go into why are we, a little bit of our competitive advantage in our region and then what we're doing about this opportunity. Any questions so far? I just went through a lot of like industry definition. Okay. All right. So the exciting thing, we have this big growing global industry. We are incredibly well positioned here in the North San Joaquin Valley to attract and grow companies in this space and to scale up these solutions. The Tri-County region, San Joaquin, Stanislaus, and Merced counties, is right in the center of what hopefully we all know is the state that is the leader in agriculture, the leader in manufacturing, and the global leader in biotechnology. The number one ag state, the number one manufacturing state, the number one biotech state in the country, and we are in the heart of all of that activity. We all know that the Central Valley leads in agricultural production, but we also have the highest concentration of manufacturing activities in the state because we are leaders in food processing. And people often forget that. Stanislaus and San Joaquin counties are the leaders in California manufacturing. We have all of that right next door to the San Francisco Bay Area, which is the highest concentration of biotechnology, expertise, and workforce and investment in the country. That is an incredibly exciting and powerful combination. There's actually nowhere else in the country that has that combination. These blue shaded counties are the only places in the country, there's 5 of those regions that have leading scale ag and leading scale manufacturing in the same place. There's only 5 places in the country. I count right, yes. So we're one of those 5 places. It's actually pretty rare to have that in the same county. But we also, among those 5, are the only ones next to one of these orange stars, which represent superstar tech hubs, where there's a really, really high concentration of investment capital and research and workforce in a technology area. And so the fact that we have within driving distance access to so many of the startups and the laboratories and the R&D assets that are leading in this bioproducts, biotechnology space, but we are so well suited to be the basis of manufacturing because we're where that feedstock is, we're where the biomass is, and we have the workforce and the infrastructure and the expertise to actually do large scale manufacturing, makes us incredibly unique in the country and globally to be really, really leading in bioemission manufacturing. So we got to seize on this opportunity. I mentioned earlier in the introduction that our initiative you can think of as a portfolio of work. Don't worry, I'm not going to read all these bullet points, but it's a visual representation for you that we are launching in parallel a lot of different programs and projects and investments, all of which are aiming at attracting and growing from within and nurturing businesses in this industry and supporting our existing food and agricultural businesses and manufacturing businesses to plug into this supply chain and really the benefit of our existing industries. One of the big projects underway that I'll just mention is we are building an innovation campus and test bed facility here in Stanislaus County. We are going to need a lot of state support to make this happen. Mention my assembly member there. This is going to be truly a global center of excellence for the circular bioeconomy. It will be an incredible asset for the state of California to secure its global leadership in the bioeconomy, and it will be a tremendous flag in the ground for Stanislaus County and for the North San Joaquin Valley as global leaders in this space. We're going to be able to directly fill a market demand and market need for this type of test bed manufacturing capacity. The United States is investing in a network of these all around the country. One of them needs to be here in the North San Joaquin Valley. So we're really excited about that innovation campus as kind of a hub to support a lot of this work. And again, there's projects happening all across that portfolio, including an accelerator and technical assistance programs and workforce development programs and a lot of other things that contribute to this ecosystem. We've raised a little over $15.4 million over the past year since launch. That includes a $10 million commitment from Stanislaus County to seed this overall initiative. And then we have brought in an additional $5.4 million in federal, state, and private investments to support this work, including a pilot grant from the state of California. And then an investment from the National Science Foundation that Beam Circular is co-leading with UC Merced and Lawrence Berkeley National Laboratory, which is working toward an implementation grant that would be very significant and really help to catalyze and propel this work forward. Our partners in this work have been really diverse and growing. So we are very much actively always recruiting additional participants in our working groups and in our collaborative. These are members of the Leadership Council for the Innovation Engine project that's being supported by the National Science Foundation. So it includes, state agencies as well as our local county governments. And then on the industry side, associations as well as some of our larger manufacturers from agriculture, always very much welcoming additional folks into this collaborative, as well as community representation from environmental as well as local workforce development and talent development organizations. So it's a big coalition. It takes a lot of folks to really grow this new industry, a new sector in a place. And the very cool, exciting thing about the bioeconomy is it really does touch and affect so many different existing segments of our community. All right, so I promised I would get to how is this potentially relevant to local businesses right now. And I want to note that this is really big, ambitious work that is not to sound hyperbolic, but this is generational work in nature. It takes many years to build up an industry cluster. We've seen other regions do it, and we're lucky to have advisors who are experts on the national stage and how you can grow a regional cluster. It takes many years. And there are early win opportunities that we can seize right now, both for existing firms and for attracting new firms into our community. So a few kind of, at this moment in time, opportunities and things to put on the radar of local businesses. One is that Beam Circular is launching a variety of different technical assistance and funding programs to support local businesses to become part of the bioeconomy supply chain. So what that means is that if you are, say, a food manufacturer, food processor, an agricultural grower, or otherwise, a retailer, someone that has organic waste material, or byproducts or residues or whatever language you're using. If you have this organic material that's coming out of your process, and you are interested in exploring ways to use that organic material as a feedstock for this growing industry, so you would become a supplier for the bio-based industry, we are deploying resources to help you access the technical assistance, the consulting, the R&D assets that might help you adopt a new technology or process to become a supplier in the supply chain. You can also think of this more broadly as, are you doing something innovative to reduce your organic waste? Let us help you. Let's see if there are ways we can partner with you to accelerate that work or support you in pursuing funding for that work, or partnerships for it. Very practically, we're going to be issuing a survey in the next 1 to 2 weeks, which I would love to have the chamber's support in disseminating. It's going to be getting input. It's basically a request for information, a survey for local businesses who might be interested in these types of opportunities to get your feedback on, are there existing projects you're already working on? And if so, what might be ways to support you with that? And or is this something you're interested in exploring? What would be the barriers to doing so that we can design and deploy some of the existing funding we have from the state to be as helpful and useful and relevant as possible to local businesses. So we're kind of in information gathering mode right now to make sure that we deploy those resources as effectively and usefully as possible. That's a very timely opportunity that we'll be disseminating very soon. So I wanted to highlight that. Broadly, we are really, you can think of Being Circular as a hub to facilitate collaboration. We have a lot of work underway to nurture and scale R&D and innovation projects, and have been doing a lot of dot connecting between industry and, you know, the national laboratories and the university system to support advancement of those R&D projects. So if that's something that appeals to you or someone you know, would love to chat. Learning partnerships in both directions. So we are doing a lot of going out and trying to seek input and feedback from industry on, again, what are their barriers to potentially becoming part of this supply chain, either as suppliers or consumers and users of bio-based materials. And so there's kind of a, hey, could we come talk to you and your company and gather insights? We're often doing learning tours for our team and for our partners to understand existing operations in our region. And how what waste management currently looks like on site. If that's something you're open to supporting us with in terms of our ongoing learning and mapping of what's happening already in our region, where are the bright spots in innovation, and where are there potential challenges that we can help collaborate around. There's just a lot of joint learning. And then in the other direction, we do a lot of like speaking and workshops, like for folks who want to host us to learn more about circular bioeconomy and how it might apply to their industry. We're kind of, we are growing our team. We are now a team of 9 in our backbone nonprofit organization, which we're so excited about, and continuing to hire a few folks. So we're going to be increasingly able to do more of that proactive outreach and educational work. I also want to highlight the opportunity for business development and basically, you know, deal connections, partnership connections. We're doing a lot to map out potential feedstock suppliers in our region and have a network of go-to folks interested in connections to potential offtake folks for those feedstocks. We have, you know, there's a startup that is looking to expand in our region that specifically focuses on wastewater at food processing facilities and ways that waste you can that they can support water management practices in general at the site, but also capture those biosolids from that wastewater and turn it into a usable and valuable stock for bio-based products. So they are actively looking for introductions to food processing facilities in the region. They were funded through an accelerator from Coca-Cola, and they are doing amazing work. We're super excited to support their growth in our region, given their relevance to our local industry. So that's an example where we would love to help facilitate connections between existing businesses and some of these incoming startups who might be interested in collaboration. And then finally, you know, very practically, we're a nonprofit and we are very interested in sponsorships. We haven't started a proactive fundraising campaign, but absolutely there are opportunities that we would love to explore if your business or team is interested in sponsorship of this work. It is a really cool opportunity to not only contribute to community impact goals in supporting expansion of economic opportunity, but also to be supporting a really positive sustainability and environmental initiative. So that's what I wanted to highlight. Covered up in the bottom here is a note that you can sign up on our website for our newsletter. Actually, I think I have a link. Here we go. So that's our website. Please sign up for our newsletter. It's where we're going to be distributing a lot of these like upcoming opportunities when we start to launch more of these funding and technical assistance programs and other things. This is my email address. I also have my card here. Would love to connect. And then we're relatively active on LinkedIn, so you can follow us on LinkedIn as well if you want to just get updates on this. But I'll stop there, and depending on how much, I don't know if agenda-wise there's time, but we'd love to feedback or questions or anything that you all want to talk about.
The last time I remember Nestle coming, part of their presentation was about what they were doing with wastewater. So I imagine by now you guys have grown that even more, built on that even more, but it was fascinating when I heard it.
Right.
It's definitely stuff to talk about.
Yeah.
We're partnered with 3 of our dairies, and they're trying out different technologies that involve the water that they flush out of the, I don't know what you call them, but then the big buildings.
Yeah. Out of
out of the barns, I guess.
Yeah.
And 2 of the dairies have built digesters, and they're capturing the methane off of that.
Nice.
And then one of them is using that water for subsurface irrigation after it goes through the digester. Another one is it's a Burma built filter, so it's giant earthworms, and they haven't started construction on that one yet. But so we've got those 3 dairies that are really in this.
Does that include Piscalini?
Yes, they're
Yeah,
one.
they're one of the first that had a digester. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a particular soft spot for dairy because my dad's a local dairy vet, large animal veterinarian. So very much grew up in the dairy kind of family and community in our region, and there's such very cool opportunities in this space.
Since I have you and you're captive in my space, you can ask, tell us a little bit about all the emails I'm getting on roads to removal.
Oh my gosh, are you getting a much? So
No problem, but I don't know if I can make it
not
work
my
yet.
event, but I am speaking at it.
Your name
So,
pops up on one of them.
Yeah, I probably went up today. I'm a panelist at an event coming up at UC Merced. It's part of a series of events called Road to essentially exploring this report that came out of Lawrence Livermore National Laboratory called Road to Removal, which is a really big, actually national level analysis of carbon removal strategies. And so I was speaking on a panel about opportunities in this biomass, like bio-utilization space for reducing carbon emissions using this industry. So I will basically be sharing some of this work and the ways that growing this industry that also is a really exciting strategy for carbon removal is good for the whole community. That's my engagement.
Yeah, the one that came today is the first one that your name was right on. I'm like, okay, you can help me understand. What is this?
Yeah, please don't call on me to explain all the technical details of this laboratory report. But it is at the high level, it's all about, hey, we need actually many different strategies to remove carbon from the atmosphere to reduce emissions. And so it presents a lot of different strategies, and we are kind of a significant segment of the potential opportunities to pursue those goals.
And is this open to the public?
Yeah. So there's registration. It's March 1st.
It says February 29th, community lecture, 6:30 to 8, doors open at 5:30, and March 1, full day symposium. Both events are at UC Merced. I could forward this if anyone wants it.
Is that it?
Yeah.
We usually at the end do 30-second commercials-ish. So if
Mhm.
you want to highlight any events that you guys have going on, now would be the time.
Events or activities, updates from your office.
I guess update from our office are kind of just relating to what your work is amazing and is definitely of interest for the assembly member. So the assembly member is vice chair of agriculture committee for the state assembly. And we actually just came back from the World Ag Expo, and we were always asked the question of, are we there yet with electricity when it comes to fossil fuels and sources of that kind? So I will definitely be bringing this up to the attention of the assembly member. But when it comes to updates, I guess assembly member is currently vice chair of public safety, agriculture. He's on the water committee. I know there's a few more, but I can't list them on the top of my head. He's introduced 11 assembly bills, and today's the last day of introductions. Other than that, he's very active in the district right now. He's going on as many tours and meeting so many people as possible, but that's an update, I guess.
Yeah, he is all over the place right now.
Yes, we like that.
Anything for you guys?
Yeah, currently with StanCog, we're actually going to be doing a little virtual meeting with you guys next month with Love to Ride. Since May is coming up, we're going to be starting our Bike Month campaign with our Stanislaus Green new platform that we have going on. So you'll hear a lot more about that next month.
And you're presenting virtually, is that what you said?
Not me, but the Love to Ride manager, yes.
Okay.
I will be here.
Awesome, thank you. Anything additional for you guys?
We're gonna do a in May. It's gonna be the 13th of May, actually. We'd love to actually have you come out to that meeting. And then anyone else. And so, I'm sure we can do it online as well if everyone wants to be able to participate. So I can send out information.
Yeah, if I'm available, I'd love to be there.
Okay, yeah, and it's just basically about our, Alliance Water Stewardship program that we're doing.
Yeah, I
So
love it.
give everyone some information.
We're looking to have the right stakeholders, right, in our network of people that we share information with, and that kind of with COVID and with Courtney leaving, got a little stale maybe, and so
Mhm.
we're trying to renew those connections.
Yeah. When we're done here, I'll connect with where we were at and what the conversation was. And
Thank you.
do you have anything from American Recycling over there?
Yeah.
We're still trying to get used to this.
Circular economy and opportunity.
We're offering right now, well, a lot of people don't know that we offer free shredding, so that's kind of what I'm out there letting everybody know that we're shredding, so if you wanted to come on Thursdays, you can see your shred, live. Any other time, you just drop it off Monday through Friday between 8 and 3:30 PM.
Drop it off where?
Oh, at 2070 Morgan Road, so right down the street, it's not too far, about 8 minutes from the chamber. And again, that's that American Recycling.
Awesome. We're very proud of Jolene. She's doing great stuff.
Do you happen to know where the shred paper is
I have learned so much of
I'm
what
excited.
happens there. My job now is just to collect
Yeah.
all the
Get it
data.
first, yeah.
This is only her second full week, not
Oh,
here.
Congratulations. No, I actually am we haven't even scratched the surface of sort of exploring and understanding some of the existing recycling operations and how that might be some intersection.
Right.
Yeah, very cool.
We recycle all of our tin cans, for us, and the milk that's in those cans, if they're scraps, so that's they're good partners on that with us.
Very fun.
Yeah, and Lyndon is her direct boss, her new boss, so. I said, so obviously you're getting busier and you're stealing her from me, so what does that mean? He goes, I don't know if you still want me there, and I go, no, I want Jolene, you can go. So he's gonna show up quarterly or so, but she's gonna be the boss. So, well, why don't you go ahead and stop sharing and then pause recording. And we'll kind of just wrap up. Appreciate all of you guys